What's up, everyone? Welcome to Every Week We Follow. This week we are covering our Wolves game, which is on Friday night at Molineux. It's an away trip. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff live on Sky Sports. Make sure you join us for the watch along for that. I'm hoping that James will be back for that and we'll do it together maybe. We'll find out later on. Anyway, today I'm joined by the wonderful Matt. Thanks, Matt. How you doing?
No worries. Yeah, all good.
All good? It's all good. All right, so there's a Wolves fan in my house. I don't know how I've managed to allow this to happen, but he's here. We're going to keep it clean, right?
Yeah.
Not going to get too feisty or anything, right?
No.
He's come on recommendation from the wonderful wife. So Matt actually works with Mrs. B. So those of you that know Mrs. B, this is Matt's her work colleague. So we're going to put at the Wolves to rights. We're going to talk about a little bit how the seasons are going. Then we're going to put Matt through his paces with the hat-trick quiz. Then we'll go through our teams. And we'll finish the show with score predictions. But first, make sure if you can see that QR code in the bottom corner, make sure you scan that. Donate £5 to Acorns. You can win that signed football and some signed memorabilia from Brian Little and Peter With. That's still going. And we are hoping to do a charity night towards the end of the season. So make sure you check that out. So without further ado, we'll get into it. Matt, it's the 11th. No, sorry. This is not the 11th. We'll start that again. How are you feeling about the season so far with Wolves? Now, obviously, you're down in the dumps, right? Looks like relegation's on the cards, but you had a fantastic result against Arsenal last week. And it was fair to say that the Crystal Palace game was eventful, right? What are your thoughts on those two in particular? Let's start with there.
Yeah, so I think, obviously, the season's been difficult. Obviously, we've shown against Arsenal that we could come back and kind of get something from the game, and then kind of going into Crystal Palace, you kind of think, can you build on it? And then I think first half there were obviously chances. Obviously, we had a penalty, missed the penalty.
Goals change games, mate. Goals change games. We say that on the show.
And then I think second half, obviously, Crystal Palace kind of switched it on more. Definitely had a talkie to, I think, from the manager at half time. And then obviously the red card comes. And then kind of you just defending, trying to hold out for a 0-0, but obviously you're.
And then Agent Gaston comes up. If I'm honest, mate, he was. We're not fans of Everton Gaston. He's been for 30 million quid. I'm sincerely hope that Crystal Palace buy him. To be fair, the fact that he's popped up with a goal, I guess it's one of those things, right? When you've got a player that's playing out of position, which we did with him, and he's played in the position that he prefers. Suddenly he starts, banging in a goal or two, and. It's unfortunate for you, I suppose, but I'm not going to say it didn't make me smile a little bit that Evan Gassander put one past the Wolves. So yeah, in terms of at the start of the season, what were your expectations and hopes before obviously it all started to go a little bit peak-tongue?
I mean, I think obviously last season we were in a similar position at the start, and then we kind of managed to claw our way out of it. So you kind of think with the way we I guess we went on a bit of a streak, didn't we, at one point, I think, where we were on like 5-6 games winning in a row.
Yeah.
So you kind of think, can we carry it on? But then I think towards the end of the season, we did kind of drop that down. And then it was kind of start of the season, which kind of Wolves would we see? And obviously we saw the team that ended it kind of not being able to see out games, not being able to pick up points, struggling to score goals, being too open defensively, and kind of... I think we kind of just left it a bit too long before making a change, really. And kind of by the time we did, we still hadn't won a game. We maybe had 1 or 2 points, I think, bottom of the league, quite far away from everyone else. Since then, I think, it's a big ask to try and claw that back.
So it's interesting. I find it really fascinating because not so long ago, you were challenging for European places. You under Nuno, you were kind of this expansive footballing side that. I remember going. I think I said to James, so it was, God, I'm envious of Wolves because they're doing they're seeing what they're doing everything right. They've got a manager that wants to play attacking football. They've got some really quality players. This was I guess you could say prime Wolves with Jota and Jimenez and Neves and all these players. So where has it kind of gone wrong, and how now where do Wolves go from here? But first of all, like in terms of from the Nuno days to now, what's in your opinion, where's it gone wrong?
I mean, obviously we've sold basically everyone from that team. Obviously, the top players, Jota, Neves, obviously they moved on to. I mean, Jota obviously went to Liverpool, won the league. Neves obviously went to Saudi. Obviously, some players like Matinho and stuff have obviously got older, and obviously I think he's still playing, but obviously gone to other leagues. And I think the players that we replaced them with just haven't been as good. Bad investment, like spending 30+ million on an unproven Fabio Silva. And then obviously Jimenez.
What happened to him, by the way? Because he seems to have like disappeared. He was the Portuguese next kind of Ronaldo, wasn't he? From all accounts.
Yeah, but I feel like he hadn't really played much when we did sign him, like before then. So I don't know if it's kind of. I saw, because you see people online talking about Morata being like a money laundering scheme. I've seen someone online saying yesterday, I think it was, that Fabio Silva's the new one.
So, and in terms of managers, then, so you've had a few that have come and gone. Gary O'Neill for one. I really like Gary O'Neill. I thought, as listening to my Sky Sports a lot, and his tactical awareness and kind of his knowledge of the game is excellent. So, but I don't know, is it an ownership thing, or is it down to the people that you've picked?
I think it's a bit of both, to be honest. I mean, a lot of the fans. I mean, we saw some protests earlier in the season against the ownership. Obviously, Jeff Shee's left now, but only time will tell if that's actually going to make a change, I guess. In terms of management, I guess we've gone through a few different managers now, and managers with different styles, I guess, as well. But obviously, they've all kind of. I think our squad, even if they've tried to change it to go like 4 at the back, our squad's not set up for that. So they've not been able to kind of implement, I guess, what they've wanted to. And we constantly have to go back to this 3 at the back because of how the players are. Which, to be fair, I guess looking forward, that's probably something that I'd want to change, is to kind of get rid of that 3 at the back, 5 at the back, whatever you prefer to call it, and kind of go back to that solid 4.
A classic 4-4-2 sort of thing, where you just know where everyone.
Well, it doesn't have to be 4-4-2. It could be 4-3-3, but kind of, I think just having that, I don't know. I feel like sometimes you end up too defensive, and then, like, I think for us, our wing backs probably, when we had like Ait-Nouri, obviously he was great going forward.
Yeah.
He kind of acted like a winger, but now I guess you've got Bueno, and I guess he's not as good going forward as Ait-Nouri, but he's probably maybe a little bit better defensively. So you kind of get a bit of a balance, but maybe in attack we've not been as good, I guess, as we have been when we had, I guess, players like Jota or even like Neto before he went to Chelsea.
Yeah. And I mean, for me, the biggest one for me is when you sold Jimenez as well, at that of them, considering, obviously what he went through with his head injury, and then bouncing back from that, and the support the club gave him. And then obviously he just went on his merry way. And I've always rated him like massively. Yeah. He's still now banging in goals for Fulham, isn't he? So, you miss players like that. And to be fair, I haven't watched much of Wolves this season, right, to be fair, because it doesn't sound like it's been worth watching, right? But you've obviously, like I said at the start, that point against Arsenal, I did watch that game, and I thought you were excellent for probably the last half an hour in that. I thought once you got that first goal, so there's definitely stuff there. You've got players that can clearly play, but I guess we talk about this all the time on the channel with Villa in terms of it's all about consistency, right? It's about getting these players to perform for 90 minutes, not just for 20 minutes or half an hour there, because it's the Premier League, it's ultra competitive, and most teams keep going until the death, right? Yeah. So now that you're, what's 10 points you're on? I mean, I don't know this is going to be depressing thought now, but you're on double digits, right? There's enough games left to beat Derby's horrible record, right? I hope this doesn't start on Friday night, by the way, and you beat that, because I don't think I'll ever live it down. But before we get into kind of the actual game, I guess, are you preparing for relegation, and what are your thoughts on what next, really, for Wolves? How you finish the season and what for next season?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's got to be prepared for relegation, I think, now. I think after when we got...
I'm trying so hard not to rub it in. Look how nice I've been. I've even put a little orange microphone thing on top. I'm just being so professional right now. Anyways, sorry, Matt, carry on.
Yeah, I think after the West Ham victory, which they were really poor in that game anyway, obviously our only league win of the season, I think there was a tiny little bit of hope that maybe, just maybe, if everyone else somehow turned out to be even worse than we had been all season, that maybe we could do it, but it's just not worked out that way. And I guess going forwards, obviously it's preparing for the Championship. I think you've seen that with, obviously, getting rid of Strand Larsen, getting the money now because he'd probably be a cut
Right,
price
like
in the summer.
48 million quid. That's an absolute bargain. For how many goals did he score for you?
I mean, I think last season he was on like 14 or something, but obviously this season, I think he only had one in the league, which was a penalty. I think, a couple in the cup.
I think that's a fabulous bit of business, by the way. So, and what for the champ? Are your hopes to keep the rest of the squad, or do you think there'll be sales made in the summer?
I think there'll probably be some. I know I read online that's apparently a lot of the players have got relegation clauses in their contracts, and they'll be getting pay cuts. So I imagine because of that, they'll be looking for moves.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's some players that have been linked away before. I think last summer, like Andre was getting linked with Juventus. João Gomez has been linked with a lot of Premier League teams, even though they've obviously not performed as well as they can this year.
Yeah.
Obviously, if they can get them on a cut price as well.
Well, mate, look, I'm going to be nice because I feel your pain. Like in 2015-16, when Villa got relegated, I think that was probably one of the harshest seasons of football I'd ever seen at Villa Park, and it was just brutal because it was probably the first season that I took Ava down. Right, so she was 6 or 7, and we in 19 league games we won 1 at home, and we missed it because we were on holiday. So it was kind of like turning up every week, and you're paying your money, and you're not seeing. I guess for most football fans, I know how you feel about this, but for me, it's not necessarily always about the results. It's about the work ethic and the team turning up and putting 100% in. When they're not doing that, that's when you go, look, come on, help us out, because the crowd will get behind you. But if it's just lackluster every week in, week out, and the players don't believe, and the management don't believe, and the owners don't believe, and you're just preparing for that inevitable, it just feels like every week's like a month, doesn't it? I don't know how you feel about that.
Just counting down the days till the season's over.
Like you just because. But I've talked about this with a couple of other. A Forest fan and a Crystal Palace fan when they're talking about relegation and stuff, and being in the Championship, and that actually with the current way of the Premier League is going, with corporate being pushed more and more at clubs, and ticket prices going through the roof. Actually, like, I loved the Championship when Villa were in it. Like, I obviously didn't love the fact we were in the Premier League because it's all, you want the stability of the club, and I much prefer where we are now. But in terms of as a fan, like, we had 32,000 people turn up week in, week out. The atmosphere was electric, and now at Villa Park, we're talking about it already. Like, we're kind of, how can we get the atmosphere going again? And when it's flat, like, this is just, I think it's a Premier League problem, not just it's not in other countries. It's like you look at Germany, and it's just so much better. So, I guess that's a small thing to look forward to. That hopefully the crowds will still come to Molineux, and you'll have that atmosphere to look forward to.
Yeah, I'd hope so. I think when we were in the Championship last, I guess it depends how you're doing as well. If you're having a poor season in the Championship, it's not going to be great. But if you are pushing for those promotion places, then yeah, it's definitely going to be bouncing.
And if relegation is inevitable, what's your open expectation for next season?
I feel like they have to try and get promotion back first time, really.
Yeah.
But obviously, I think we've seen in recent years that's not always going to happen. Obviously, we've seen what Leicester are struggling at the bottom of the Championship now.
Well, they gambled, didn't they? And that's the thing. That was I don't know Wolves' financial situation in terms of are they, capable of doing that, and not, I don't think they've kind of overly spent, and kind of, you're going to have like
I think
FFP charges or anything like that.
I think the last few seasons, obviously, we've had, or at least the club have been saying, or at least it's been reported, that we kind of needed to sell to buy. Which is obviously why we sold players like Neves and Neto and stuff. Obviously, we've got this 48 million for Strand Larsen now. We've
put that in the bank. Keep it stashed under the mattress.
Players in January. Armstrong, obviously, he's Championship kind of level. So I think preparing for that.
And so before we move on to the hat-trick quiz, mate, I just want to talk about Rob Edwards, really, because when his appointment was obviously controversial. He was at Middlesbrough, and they were flying in the Championship. And, I think in his press conference, he was like, I couldn't turn it down. It's a massive club like Wolves, So do you think that was the club seriously preparing someone to keep you in the Premier League, or preparing someone who they know has got a wealth of experience of, promotions in lower league football?
Yeah, I think probably the club would never say we're preparing for the Championship. They're not really going to, but the position that you're in, it's kind of obvious, I guess. And I think, with where he's worked before, you probably see it as he's the guy that we're going to look to bring us back up.
So he had a bit of a pop at the fans, didn't he? Last week. What were your thoughts about that? Because I don't, is it justified, or are you going, no way, we're behind the team?
I mean, I think it's a bit split, to be fair. I've seen online, some people think he's not the man to bring us back up. Some people think, like, who else is there, I guess. It's kind of the view, which I kind of see it in the same way. I'm not really sure who else there is to go and get. And he's kind of made the squad, I guess, a bit more, like, obviously, Larson was obviously, I think, since the summer, since that Newcastle bid, his head probably wasn't in it. So he's got rid of him, got that kind of out of the club to kind of, and I guess it's kind of, obviously we're still in a poor position, but the mood's a bit better, I guess, around the place. I think as well, since he's come in, I'd say, I think at the start, there was a lot of games in a row where we'd kind of be at 0-0 to like the 60th minute, and then we'd concede, and it'd always be around that time after the hour mark, we'd our performance drop off. But I think we have seen an improvement overall if you look at the total season defensively under him.
So, I mean, look, football fans were dare to dream, right? People have had a go at us about kind of, you're not in a title race, and but as a football fan, you have to believe, right? So you've got 10 games left, I believe. Is that right? I think so, yeah. So that's 30 points to play for, right? Could you win all of your last 10 games?
It would take a lot. I think we'd need what, Armstrong to turn into Haaland, and
Well, Adam Armstrong has, got the experience. He went down with Southampton last year, didn't he? So he has got a Premier League experience as well. And actually, I thought before Southampton got relegated, he looked like a decent player for Southampton. So, I mean, I never say never. I know it's highly unlikely to win 10 games in a row when you've only won one all season, right? or something like that, whatever it is. But I think you just have to believe that you get behind your team and try and back them all the way. So, anyway, it'll be interesting. So we'll move on anyway. Thanks for the insight, mate, because it's always, I find these podcasts a little bit better when you because I don't watch every team in the Premier League. Obviously, I watch highlights and stuff. It's really important to get the opposing fans' views on stuff, because we're just speculating and it a bit more than we do. So thanks for your insight, mate. Appreciate that. Right, so we're going to break it up now. This time we're going to go into the hat trick quiz. For those of you that watch regularly, you know that this is 4 questions in total, so a chance to score a hat trick. Right, we have the tap-in, mate, which is just a simple, nice tap-in from 6 yards. Yeah. Then we go into the curler from the edge of the box, right, which is known as the medium question, so easy medium. And then we have what I like to call the Thunder Bastard, which is the 30-yard screamer into the top corner. And if you get all those right, you score the hat trick. And we'll go into a bonus question, which gives you kind of bragging rights. It's nothing too taxing, I promise you. It's just a little bit of fun. So we'll get onto that, mate. So are you ready for the first question?
Yep, go for it.
He's ready for it. Right, okay. Right, so this is the tap-in, right? Nice and easy. Who opened the scoring, right, on the 4th of January 2023 when Villa drew 1-1? It was at Villa Park. And who scored for Wolves? They scored the first goal.
We opened the scoring.
I think you opened the scoring, if this is correct. And this should be correct. By the way, I'm not advertising this, but this is with the new Premier League Microsoft panel thing that's got all the new Premier League stats. So this is where these stats have come from.
You say 2021?
2023. 4th of January 2023. And another player that I thought was excellent that you let go, and I think he went to go and, I'm going to give you a clue. He went to go and play for, I think it was Olympiacos, because Villa played against him in the Conference League a couple of seasons ago.
I want to say Daniel Podence.
Yes, mate. The tap-in is in. He's right. So it's 1-0. First one out of the bag, mate. No problem. Just relax you in. So just breathe. Right, it's going to get slightly harder. So question 2, the curler from the edge of the box. In the 21st September 2024 meeting between Villa and Wolves at Villa Park, Villa won 3-1. Right? I don't know if you remember it. But who scored for Wolves before Villa's come back? Again, I think Wolves opened the scoring.
What year did you say?
It was 21st September 2024.
24. Would it have been Cunha?
He was Cunha, mate. Well done. Yeah. Haven't asked you about him. How did you feel about that controversial? Was it a controversial move to Man United, or was it an inevitable move?
I think everyone probably expected him to go after kind of everything that went on last season. I think he did a lot of talking, didn't he, in the posting on his Instagram and
He
stuff
did.
like that. So I think after that, even though he obviously played, and I think he had a few kind of back and forth with a few fans and stuff as well. But
he seems the character. I watched him on Monday Night Football against Everton wind up some of their players, and I just thought, oh God, you. Oh. And obviously, he absolutely tore us to shreds last season when you beat us at Molineux. So, and this is one of the things that, which is why I'm not overly confident about beating you on Friday, but I'm confident in the fact that last season I was like, actually, Wolves have got a couple of players that can cause you damage, and from what I have seen of Wolves this season, I'm like, there's no one that I really feel with that our squad shouldn't be able to deal with. But again, we'll get to that when we go through the squads. But I just, as that was an answer of Cunha, I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on that process.
I think he's the kind of player that you love him in your team, but you hate playing against him.
Absolutely. He's a bit like Emi Martinez, mate. We love him, but like if he played against you, you'd be like, fuck, I hate this dude. Right, anyway, so it's 2 out of 2, mate. So this is the hard one, the Thunder Bastard, right, from 30 yards. So this is the same game, mate, that we're keeping in. But which Villa player scored in the 88th minute to complete that 3-1 comeback for Villa?
God.
In front of the whole end, and we all went wild.
Trying to think who you had in your squad.
And he doesn't score many.
A couple of years ago.
I'll give you a clue. He's not a striker, that's for sure.
I'm just going to have to guess, I think, because I'm not sure.
Go on then. You can just...
Mings?
Oh, mate, do you know what? That's a great guess. It's wrong, but it was a centre-half. It was Ezri Konsa, who flew in at the back post and scored some... He was kind of twisted his body, and it would have been easy to score with his left foot, but he scored with the outside of his right foot. Really strange goal. But not to worry, right? You scored 2, so you've got a brace, but we got a bonus question, and the bonus question is basically a nice, simple one to try and give you that hat-trick thing, because we like people to go away with a smile on their face, mate, until we get at least a little pin badge that says you've completed the hat-trick quiz. All right, so this is for your hat-trick. And we've already spoke about him, so I think you'll probably get this one. Anyway, which Aston Villa goalkeeper paraded his World Cup winners medal and the Golden Glove to the crowd before the kickoff on that 4th of January game in 2023?
That's going to have to be Martinez.
It certainly was. And I just wanted to get that in because I think Martinez is probably going to be leaving in the summer. But Matt scores his hat-trick. He gets his badge if we had one. Well done. Round of applause for Matt. Nice one. Well done, mate. Smash that, right? Basically, I think Emi Martinez is one of the players that we're going to have to say goodbye to. I think he's one of our highest earners, and there's a big thing in the summer who's going to go, so I think he'll be on his merry way. Right, anyway, we're moving swiftly along. So we're going to go on to our lineups now then, Matt, right? And we're going to have yours up first. So the powers that Bill get up, there we go. Wolves starting 11. Now, obviously, you sent me this. Now, I may have got it wrong, but I put the players where I think they kind of played. A couple of them haven't got pictures, so I don't know what that is. That's just not, they're not in the lineup database. But yeah, just talk us through it, mate. Tell us who we should watch out for and the danger players, and how you think they're going to line up.
Yeah, so obviously I think obviously Sarr continues in goal. I think it's been a lot better recently compared to, I guess, the start of the season where I think he was conceding a few sloppy goals. Obviously our defence hasn't really changed much, but obviously the red card kind of forces into that.
Yeah.
I think we could have gone with Totti, but he's only just come back from injury, so I'm not sure if he'll throw him straight in. So I've gone with Doherty as the right centre back, and I guess because he knows the fixture, he knows what it means.
Veteran, right? Yeah, that Derby Day delight.
Maybe he'll throw him in for that. And then I guess with the midfield, I guess I should say before I go on to the midfield, Bueno in the centre back position, I think probably one to call out as probably one of the most improved players this season. Obviously, we've been poor.
Yeah.
But I think last year I kind of viewed him as like a liability in that defence.
Okay.
Whereas this season, I think he's definitely stepped up a bit more. Obviously, we're still in a bad position, but he's definitely one that I would want to keep.
Yeah.
The Championship. I think he'll definitely help us with that push to try and come back up.
So is he a young player? How old is he? Yeah.
20, mid-20s, mid to late 20s probably.
Yeah. So actually could be one of your most experienced players to keep. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's good. Like I've seen a few times where he's like played a decent ball forward as well, like to get us on that kind of front foot.
That's what you need from centre half, particularly in the Premier League, and not so much. I don't know, the Championship. It felt very much kind of more of a physical game in the Championship, and so those. I guess if you've got someone who can play balls forward over the top, it makes a massive difference, right?
Yeah, definitely. And then I guess going on to the midfield, I think Jackson, right wing back. Obviously, I think defensively, he's probably better than our other options. I mean, we've got Pedro Lima, but he hasn't really played much.
Yeah.
And then Rodrigo Gomez, who kind of sometimes comes in there, but probably not as strong defensively. And I think Jackson's pace obviously helps him out a lot, and it will help cover for Doherty as well, potentially. Obviously being a bit older and probably a bit slow. My only issue with him is going forward. He's kind of, he'll get the ball in a great position. He's got a chance to cross. He'll just stop, turn, pass it back to Andre. It frustrates a lot of people.
We're not the only ones, villains. So we're not the only team that do that, right?
Yeah. And then I guess the midfield two, Andre and Bellegarde. I think they've obviously, Andre's played a lot of football, but I've read online that Gomez is nursing a hip injury, so I'm not sure if he'd start him in this game.
Right, okay.
So he'll probably be on the bench, maybe come on for the last 20 or something. But I'd expect to see these two, because I think those two together against Palace in the first half, they were quite kind of complemented each other well.
Yeah.
And then I thought as well last year when we played you, I thought it was the game that you were on about where Cunha, and I think Bellegarde scored as well. 2-0, was it?
Yeah, it was 2-0. Thanks for getting that in there, mate. Appreciate that.
I thought he
had to do that on the Villa podcast, didn't he?
I thought he played quite well in that game as well. So hopefully he can do it again.
Yeah. Well, certain. I don't know if you agree with this, but I guess certain players fill fixtures, right? And it is a derby, right, whether we like it or not. Let me ask you about that before we go into the Villa squad and your forward line, sorry, because I am intrigued to hear about this front three. How do you feel about the derby day? Is it a big issue for you? Is this like a big derby? Because for me, my derby is Birmingham City, right? And I always envisage that Wolves is West Brom. So, but there seems to be a lot of hatred online. I get a lot of comments from West Brom fans and Wolves fans. So, where do you sit on it, your own personal experience?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably similar to you. Obviously, I think any of the local teams you can kind of see as a rival, but they're not going to be that one, like your biggest kind of. Obviously, you want to beat them. You want to win every game.
Yeah, of course.
But generally, the bragging rights, and even if, I don't know, you just obviously we know each other, or you can kind of just have that little comment that you can just.
I'm sure, however this game goes, if one of us wins, mate, we can. There'll be some messages flown around. I look forward to it. Anyway, yeah. So sorry, get us into this forward line, because this is where I'm intrigued and to know what you offer.
Yeah. Just before that, obviously, I haven't mentioned on Bueno at the left wing back. Obviously, great goal against Arsenal. I wouldn't mind if he scored another one of them.
Mate, that finish, it was absolutely unreal. I guess it shows that even against arguably one of the best defences in the league, Arsenal haven't conceded many goals this year, but they left him with just a yard. And the way he moved it out of his feet and curled it into the top corner was absolutely superb. So, hopefully, Emery's got some plan for that.
Yeah, and I think, to be fair with him, he's got decent feet as well. He can be a little bit tricky, not quite Aït-Nouri he was for us.
Yeah.
And to be fair, he can cross the ball as well, so it's good to kind of have that option. And then I guess, going on to the forward line, I think it'll probably be more of Tolu as the main focal point up front, your centre backs, and then the other two will kind of be a little bit deeper behind. That's how it kind of seemed against Palace. And I think, to be fair, against Palace in the first half, Armstrong had his kind of best game for us so far, I guess, in that first half. And then Mane, obviously, he's probably been our, I don't know if you'd say best player this season, but obviously because I guess he's had that kind of breakthrough, kind of highlighting it, and he has been really, really good for us. And again, one that I would love to keep, obviously.
Of course.
But I know, obviously, there's been rumours with Liverpool and other teams sniffing around. So
it's that time of year, isn't it? As you get towards the business end of the season, all rumours start to fly, right? Before we go into the Villa squad, I guess, because I haven't genuinely watched a lot of Wolves in detail, obviously I've seen results and stuff, but how do you generally set up? Are you going to kind of come at us, or are you going to sit back and play kind of a low block and try and defend what we have to offer, or what do you think Rob Andrews will set up?
I think it'll probably be, I mean, you watched the game against Arsenal. I think it'll probably be similar to that.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't go down within 1-0 within 4 minutes again. But I think it'll be he'll approach it in the same way. Obviously, you guys are doing really well. Probably expect for you guys to have more of the ball and us to kind of soak up that pressure and then hopefully maybe get a counter on somewhere.
Well, I'm really intrigued to say yourself because you're at home, right? And I've got this wrong a couple of times this season where we've played teams in the lower half of the division and thought they might kind of go defensively against us. But actually, because the way to beat us is to play that high press, right, and pace in behind. But we can't, depending on how we line up. So we'll get onto the Villa squad. Let's kind of have a look at it. And the reason why I say that is because Ming started against. Oh God, who was our last home game? It's gone out of my head. Who did we just lose to? No, well, Leeds. It was against Leeds, wasn't it? Sorry, the Leeds one. 1-1. Now, Ming started because of the physical threat of Calvert-Lewin up front. And actually, Calvert-Lewin, what he did was basically just always drift over to Konza and kept away from Mings. And it messed us up. We couldn't cope with him, particularly in the first half. And so, Tolu, I'm just wondering what kind of a striker is he? Does he like to play off the shoulder, or is he kind of one that wants to hold up the play and bring people into play? Or what's his strengths?
I feel like I've seen him try a bit of both, but I feel like more recently it's been kind of that hold up play and then kind of getting Armstrong, Mane, to run beyond or kind of.
So I think as you mentioned it there, because we'll probably, as we always try and do, is have a lot of the ball. I think you'll go with Torres for this one because I think it will look something we lacked against Leeds. But again, I think he was more worried about Calvert-Lewin's physical presence, so wanted that two big centre halves to kind of try and contain him. But what we missed on against Leeds was anybody to be able to play the ball forward. And the way that Leeds set up against us was with 5 in midfield, and it nullified our attack. Really, we didn't have the space to play. But I think. Largely, so that would be one change in the back four. So it'd be Mings for Mings. But I hope Maatsen starts at left back because he's full of pace, mate. And I think he just causes problems. And he's been one of our best players this season. And he's had to fight for that place over Digne, who could start, to be fair, because again, if we're going to have a lot of the ball, sometimes I don't think Unai Emery wants to play with kind of loads of pace or double pace down the left-hand side. If he's got Rodgers down there, we'd expect Rodgers to do the running and play a bit more defensively, just in case. Personally, I like it when he plays with 2. I think it sends out an intent that we're going to win the game. And then you've got, obviously, Konza, who's been probably our ever-present in this side all season and is just quality, mate. Although he did probably have his worst game in a Villa shirt against Leeds. I thought that Calvert-Lewin absolutely bullied him. He won everything in the air. And played off the shoulder brilliantly, and Leeds were looking for that little ball over the top. And again, my only concern with this pairing is that they haven't got a lot of pace. So if you can get in behind or play in behind and get them turned towards their own goal, Konza's quicker, but Pau, honestly, I think he's slower than me. I think I could do the job at centre half. And then Matty Cash came back from injury against Leeds, didn't play the whole game, but haven't heard anything as yet. The press conference will probably be tomorrow, so we'll find out if he's okay. But I think he will be, and he'll start. And this is where the changes are going to come. So what we've struggled with, obviously, and I'm not trying to use this as an excuse, but our midfield's been decimated. We lost Boubacar Kamara, we lost Yuri Tillemans, and we lost John McGinn within the space of 2 weeks. And it's funny because obviously part of Finalysis, go and check that out as well, by the way. Don't add the app, go and like our reviews. But I was looking through the Finalysis app, and obviously all the ratings that I've done throughout the season so far, 624 ratings, by the way, that my top 10, right, the top 3 are those 3 players. So from ratings, and you just go, this is why. And Unai Emery's not one to kind of use excuses, but it's totally affected the way we play, the tempo of our play, kind of players aren't, so as an example, Amadou Onana, £50 million player, has been outstanding in games this season. Since those players have been missing, he doesn't look anywhere near the same player. I think it's one of those, when you play around with better players, you raise your levels and it kind of enables him to do what he can do. But we're asking him kind of to be that main man in that pivot. And I just think he struggles with it a little bit. So I would like, and we brought Douglas Luiz back in January from Forest, for Juventus, but he was on loan at Forest. And he hasn't quite hit the levels that we need him to. Right? There's a great segment in the book Rise of the Villains where Unai Emery talks about Douglas Luiz, and I think most Villa fans thought that sale was a PSR kind of sale because it was 50 million quid. It made a lot of sense. But in the book, he's like, no, this guy's at the ceiling with me. I can't take him any further. And if he's read that and you bring him back and you go, okay, how's he going to be any different? And, while Douglas Luiz loves the Villa, you can tell he's a massive fan of the club, and but he hasn't quite hit those heights. And against Leeds, if he does start with Douglas Luiz over my choice here, Ross Barkley, then he's your man you target, because if you put him under a bit of pressure, Leeds did it really well. He gave the ball away sloppily, gifted them a free kick, which again, it was an absolute wonder strike, but he's a free kick that should never have been given. And he just, the direct comparison between Douglas Luiz and Yuri Tillemans, because that's the like for like, is that James and I spoke about this in the last show, where is the forward passing. So if you look, I did a video that basically compared them in terms of stats from Douglas Luiz, but his best season with us, which was in 23-24, and compared to Yuri from this season. And there's a 10% difference between forward passing, and that's what we've kind of been lacking. And so bringing Barkley in, he's coming back from injury, but he's been excellent when he's come on, and he does. I don't think he's quite the same caliber as Yuri Tillemans, but he has got that ability to pick out passes. His work rate's excellent, so I'm hoping he gets a start. And every time I kind of say this, like Unai Emery just does exactly the opposite. So it'll probably be Douglas Luiz starting, and then we go into the front four. Now this could be one of any four that we've got in the attack. We have got a couple of options that could go down this way. We've got Leon Bailey, who played last week, but if I'm honest, I think most Villa fans don't want to see him in a Villa shirt again. Similar to Douglas Luiz, he's come back in January and just doesn't look up to the pace of the Premier League. And so, which was a shock that Sancho didn't start last week, because he's had an excellent run of probably 3 or 4 games where he's looked like he's going to do something. Now, obviously, a lot of speculation over Jadon Sancho and his ability, and that obviously we're paying a lot of money for him, like 8% of his wages, which is equivalent to probably nearly 200k a week. And I think he's got something like 3 assists or something. It's hardly kind of value for money, but I think he's bought into the system. I think he's bought into Unai Emery, and he's shown that he's up for it, I think. And this is just the work he's doing off the ball. And so if we can get a few more goals and assists out of him, like he came on against Leeds, and I thought he was one of the players that changed the game. Tempo went up. He was kind of lively. So I hope he gets a start. And again, a fully fit Jadon Sancho with his head in the game, I still think he's a really, really, really good player that can cause most teams in the Premier League damage. I think Emi Buendia will start again, just because he's had a fabulous season. But I don't think what I'd like to see is Watkins and Tammy Abraham start together. But Unai Emery has done that twice in his 4 years at Villa Park. So he could do it against you, because he has done it against the teams in the lower half of the division. But I think it will be Buendia. And then Morgan Rogers is Morgan Rogers, mate. He's our star man. He's got the ability to tear away any team. And if Rob Edwards has got any sense about him, he would have watched that Leeds game and gone, we need to play 5 in midfield. Because in that first half, Morgan Rogers couldn't find the space to get on the ball. When we changed it after 65 minutes, it enabled him to get on the ball a bit more, and he can cause problems. He's got that in his locker. He can turn a game on his head, and he runs with the ball so brilliantly. He's so strong. So he's the one to watch. And then for me, I will eat this microphone if Tammy Abraham doesn't start over Ollie Watkins. Right, I'm telling you now, Unai. Right, if you start Ollie Watkins, I'm coming for you. I can't take it anymore. Right, play him as a 2, no problem. Drop Buendia and play them together, but do not start Ollie Watkins up front on his own. It cannot happen, right? Because the guy is just bang out of form, mate, and has been, in my opinion, for the best part of 2 seasons. He's scored 8 goals in 50 odd games, and I think it's all that for all to see. That movement's not there. He's lost a yard of pace. Yet Unai Emery is totally loyal to him, because he does fit our system in terms of when he does work hard, he does run the channels really well, and he draws in defenders, and he creates space for those players around him that we've just mentioned. But I can't watch another game of him. Look, for me, it looks like he's. I said this at the start of the season. It feels like he's down tools. He's played well in about 3 games this season. He played well against Brighton away, He played well against Chelsea away. I haven't seen him at Villa Park really kind of do anything. Scored an half-decent goal against Fulham at the start of the season. But, you know, like I say, 8 goals in 50-odd games, and it's actually 8 goals in 37 games in all competitions this season. For a team that's challenging for the Champions League, and you know, well, ultimately, goal difference cost us last year. We missed out, and it could look at it now. It could cost us again, and you go, we just need goals. That's it. And at this point of the season, it's not even. I'm not expecting us to turn up at your place on Friday night and batter you. Right? We've been poor in the last 4 or 5 games. We haven't really played very well, but we've ground out a couple of results. We got a decent point away at Bournemouth. We beat Brighton at home. It was scrappy. Like could have gone either way, but we came out with 3 points. And we've just got to do that till the end of the season because we are destitute with players, which I'm not going to moan about because it is what it is. But we've got to find a way of just getting over the line, and we have shown that this season, a little bit of resilience, which we haven't done in the past. So I'm nervous about this one. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie because it is I think this is like Wolves Cup final. Like if you're destined for relegation, then beating the Villa will be, well, at least we beat the Villa. We got relegated, but at least we beat the Villa. All right, do you know what I mean? So I just expect your players to be up for it at home. You know, Friday night, few beers in the Wolves fans. I'm sure it'll be kind of an atmosphere. And I'm just hoping that Villa can, like on paper, and I say this all the time, that squad looks like it could beat most Premier League teams on its day. But like I say, that midfield is the one for me. That's where we won and lost because they haven't had a lot of time to gel. Like Barkley and Onana, I don't think have even started a game together. Douglas Luiz and Onana have only played 3 times together, and it just shows. Like I say, those 3 key players that I'm missing, it could be where it's won or lost. And if you get to grips with that, like I say, and you can kind of, if Torres starts, I would be saying put Tulo on him and make sure you get him to run off him, because if you can get balls in behind, then it gives you a fighting chance of causing us some problems. But if Villa do come out all guns blazing with the pace of Rodgers and Sancho and co, obviously we're capable of beating any team on our day. But this starts a run of fixtures for us that will determine whether we're going to finish in the top 4 or not for me. So we've got you guys on Friday, followed by Chelsea, Man United, and then we've got West Ham and Forest. Now, for me, these next 5 games will determine whether we're going to finish in Champions League spots or not. So it's all to play for. And I've put this down to, I don't know how you feel about this, just pure desire at this point. Like if you're down there fighting for relegation, you need your players just to kind of give 110%. If they still get beat, they get beat. I can live with that. But I don't want to see Villa chuck it away because it just looks like players are half-arsing it. Do you know what I mean? It really drives me insane. So in terms of, for you, is there anyone that you feel like is going to cause you problems? Or,
I mean, obviously, I feel like most of your front 4, I guess, can cause problems. Like you said, Sancho on his day, when he actually is, I mean, if you go back to his Dortmund days, like he was electrical, and then
that's what we need, mate. I remember that, like, when you go and you watch Norwich and you think, okay, just forget about Man United, forget about Chelsea. He was absolutely awesome at Dortmund. That's who we need.
Yeah, and I mean, Rodgers, I just said he's Rodgers, probably one of the first names at the minute as well, going on the England squad, let alone Villa.
Well, like you say, mate, the rumours are already flying around. You know what I mean? Is he going to stay in the summer and all that kind of jazz? And I think that's dependent on whether we qualify for Champions League or win a trophy, if I'm honest.
Yeah, and then I guess the other one, obviously, if he starts, Tammy Abraham, which, to be fair, before he went to Villa the first time, he was a player that I wanted Wolves to sign. And I think he's got like a good record against Wolves as well. I know he scored a hat-trick against us at Molineux for Chelsea before.
Yeah.
And I think he scored a couple against us when he was at Bristol City before as well.
Yeah.
So
it's good knowledge, mate. Yes, he has. He's got an excellent record. And I think he's even... look, he looks hungry for it as well. I will say that. I think this has been the biggest bugbear now. This week, a lot of Villa fans have come into the comments just kind of saying, look, difficult to kind of defend Ollie's position now where you've got Tammy who's, scored 2 goals in 2 games. When he's come on, he's just looks like he offers so much more in terms of energy and movement. So, let's hope he can turn up and bag a hat-trick. Right, mate, Absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. Right, so just leaves the last bit, right, which is to get our score predictions for Friday night football live on Sky Sports, 8 p.m. kickoff. Yeah, as you're the guest, mate, we'll let you go first. Now, I've got a microphone in my hand, but if and I get confused with this because James usually does this bit, but he has a mirrored camera, so I think this is that home. Yeah. So your right hand is home. So that's you, and Villa's away. So if you could just hold your fingers up and let us know what you think the score's going to be on the count of three. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, he's going for a Desmond. He's going for a Desmond. 2-2. Do you know what? A point away from home, I'd probably take it, but I can't bet against the Villa. So I'm going to go, and I've done this for the last couple of games, so I'm going to put my microphone down and do it. I'm going to go 1-0. I'm going to go 1-0, and the reason why I'm going to do that is because I just want us to get through the game, scrap whatever it takes. It doesn't have to be kind of a demolition, or it doesn't have to be a nightmarish of 2-2. I think my nerves won't handle it, but which will probably be what it'll be. I just want us to kind of fight for it, like keep it tight, don't concede a goal, nick a goal, and take the 3 points and move on to the two biggest games of the season, which will be beating those teams around us. Chelsea and Man United, because for me, as much as I'd want to say we're still in a title race, I don't think that's possible for us anymore. But I do think that finishing 30s, and if we can kind of pick up what I wanted was 9 points from Leeds, you guys, Chelsea and Man United, but I would take 9 points, right, or even 7, right. But it's all to play for, and we'll see how it goes on. But are you going the game on Friday, or are you just watching it from?
I'll be watching at home.
All right, sure. So look, we will be watching from home too. We'll be doing a watch long because we couldn't get tickets. They are like rocking horse poo, and it is a local derby. So join us for that live on YouTube and TikTok, and we'll be back for the next one on. Well, we'll do live watch along on Friday. Then we'll be back for our weekly thoughts show on Monday to kind of get into the swing of next week, getting prepared for that Chelsea game, which is midweek on Wednesday, and we'll be there for that one. So until the next time, thanks, Matt, for coming on. It's been a pleasure, mate. Good luck for Sunday, but not too much, right? Hopefully Villa will come away with Sunday, Friday. I don't even know what day it is. It's this bloody yellow microphone thing. That just leaves me to sing us out, and I apologise for this, Matt, but this is the way we end the show. So look, join us next. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the hype button. Go and check us out on TikTok. Final thoughts are, by the way, because this goes back to TikTok. Villa have announced their Adidas Original range. It's coming out Friday morning, right? The plan was I need to get to 10k followers by then to get that jacket, and I'm at 8,800 and something, right? So please, for the love of Lord, right, go over to TikTok, just follow me till Friday, right, just to get that jacket, right? Don't tell Sarah, I know she's not watching. And join me, because I'll go to Villa Park Friday morning. We'll get in the queue. We'll film it on TikTok live. We'll make some content. It should be a good laugh. But if we don't, then I might just join the walkie from TikTok and document his journey. Anyway, I'm rambling now. We'll see you on the next one. And as always, every week we follow the boys in Claret and Blue. Peace.